Goldspan Dragon. 2 red, 3 other, 4/4 dragon, flying haste. Whenever Goldspan Dragon attacks or becomes the target of a spell, create a treasure token. Treasures you control have tap, sacrifice this artifact, add 2 mana of any one color. Wow. This is an enabler for so much infinite stuff in EDH. We've got to talk about this card.
All right, let's talk about this new degenerate infinite dragon doubling treasures, because that was a good idea. The video starts right now.
Special thanks to our Patreon supporters who power our channel. Check out our Patreon for monthly giveaways, exclusive content, and even a starring role in our fan fight series. Link in the description below.
Hello and welcome to The Day.
Thank you for spending your time with us.
I'm Jake.
I'm Joel. Welcome back to another episode of Jake and Joel Are Magic. We have got a gold-spanning dragon to talk about here in the video today, but first, before we do, if you would, go down there, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It really helps us out.
It's the best way to support the channel with just the click of a button if you are so compelled. If you are a fan of Jake and Joel, go check us out on Patreon. You get access to the Discord. There are monthly giveaways that might be a good fit for you. Let's talk about this new card from Kaldheim. A big, red, infinite dragon monster.
You know, these dragon mythics lately, they have actually, in my opinion, been doing a really great job. I remember a period maybe 5-6 years ago where, you know, the mythic dragon would get spoiled in a set and everybody was like, meh, meh, because it was just a mythic slot that we knew was going to be a $1 card and was never going to be anything more than that. But they have really started exploring some very interesting design spaces with mythic dragons over the last year or so, and Goldspan Dragon continues that tradition. A 5-cost 4/4 flying haster is already pretty good. When it attacks or becomes the target of a spell, creating a treasure token is even better, and it doubles the mana available from treasure tokens. Anytime I see a card spoiled that says this mana is doubled, or we're going to give you an extra mana out of the thing that we already have in the game as a mechanic that creates mana, the first thought in my head, just like if I see anything that's got an untap cost that you can do more than once per turn, I'm like, oh, okay, well, this one's going to be an infinite combos in EDH.
It really makes me value spot removal as an EDH player, and I watch so many people who for some reason they want to just have this like, oh, I have this solitaire strategy where I'm going to go in and try and win the game, and then they get blown out because they didn't have like a freaking Path to Exile or some sort of removal spell in their deck, and they're like, how in the world is this happening to me? Why is the sky falling on my head? I'm getting blown out by a creature. It doesn't even have hex proof. Run a freaking go for the throat in your deck. I mean, I'm just saying, like, when
Welcome back to Jake and Joel like suggest targeted removal in your EDH decks.
Targeted removal in EDH. What a freaking concept.
Let's get into some of the ways that you can go infinite with Goldspan Dragon and some of the bigger payoffs, even in 60 card constructed. Let's go.
Well, I already see what's going on here, but Joel, go ahead and break down the combo for everybody so they understand how this works.
Crown of Flames, for me to break this down into its most straightforward moment here, it's a 1-cost enchant creature, so it's going to target Goldspan Dragon, which is already fulfilling the need that we have to fulfill to get a treasure token. And for 1 mana, it returns to your hand so you can do it again. The thing with Goldspan Dragon is that if it gets targeted, it's creating a passive way to create 2 mana. So you can already see where I'm going with this. Pay 1, you've got Goldspan Dragon on the battlefield, okay? Pay 1 for Crown of Flames, targeting Goldspan Dragon, comes onto the battlefield, attaches to it, you create a treasure token. Tap that treasure token, sack it. You got 2 red mana floating. Pay 1 red mana. Return Crown of Flames to your hand. You've got 1 red mana floating, and you're back to where you started. Cast Crown of Flames. It targets. Create a treasure token. You can get an infinite storm count with Crown of Flames and Goldspan Dragon. And if there's anything we know about EDH, Aetherflux Reservoir is like the starting place of what you can use infinite storm counts to win with, just like that. And the cool thing about Crown of Flames, Jake, walk us through these, it's not the only one of these that exist.
No, there's lots of cards like this throughout MTG history. This one from Tempest, Flickering Ward. And for white, return Flickering Ward to its owner's hand. Xur players are just like, yeah, this card.
Yeah.
You know, and it's going to play really well with this dragon. And this one, Shimmering Wings for 1 blue, enchantment aura. Yeah, return Shimmering Wings to its owner's hand. That's what we care about. These effects like this, and Yeah.
Whip Silk is another one. One cost enchantment that can return to your hand for 1 cost. That's all you need right there, because you've got an infinite storm count going and you're creating treasure tokens infinitely. You're not creating an infinite amount of treasure tokens, but you are creating them infinitely. I make that distinction because the next card I want to talk about, we want to talk about some payoffs, right? Reckless Fireweaver is a payoff here. 2 mana, 1/3. Whenever an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, hint, hint, the treasure tokens, Fireweaver deals 1 damage to each opponent. Do that infinitely in conjunction with your Goldspan Dragon or one of your 1-cost auras that return for 1 cost. Bang, bang, boom, you're good to go. Jake, we talked about infinite storm count. Let's go classic here, baby. Classic storm finisher. Grape shot. Straight up. You're playing Goldspan Dragon. If you're playing this in a Dragon tribal deck, Dragon Storm's a great payoff to having your infinite storm count and your infinite treasure tokens created. 9 costs, you go get all of your dragons out of your library. Make sure you got some way built in to give all of them haste so you can immediately swing with everything before anybody has the option to Day of Judgment or anything like that. We just go get all our dragons, start swinging through. That's a huge payoff. And then the opposite direction, Jake, walk us through Bitter Ordeal. We've got the opposite kind of direction of a payoff right here.
So 1 black, 2 other for sorcery. Search target player's library for a card and remove that card from the game. Then that player shuffles his or her library. And then, of course, Gravestorm, which is when you play this spell, copy it for each permanent put into a graveyard this turn. You may choose new targets for the copies, so that would obviously be the treasure tokens that you would be getting your copies from for this card. So yeah, it's just you're gonna go ahead and remove cards from the game. They're just gonna mill cards and lose.
Yeah, so essentially you're just taking libraries away from all your opponents, right?
I would put 1 or 2 of these payoffs that Joel's talking about into the deck. The deck would have a synergy about it, and I would maybe have 1 or 2 infinite combos that could happen with the dragon. I'm not going to make the entire deck like that. That would be just a little bit too degenerate.
Well, that's if you look
super focused either.
If you look at any of the infinite combo videos that I've put onto the channel, the caveat with all of those is, yeah, this requires 5 cards and you can go infinite and win right there, but those 5 cards in a vacuum, 3 of them are probably garbage and really aren't going to have any impact unless you've got the other cards. And so, yeah, for sure, this is Magical Fantasyland, having Goldspan Dragon, Crown of Flames on the battlefield or in your hand with Reckless Fireweaver on the battlefield. That's absolutely, we're looking at Magical Fantasyland.
In that argument's defense, it's just kind of like, well, it's only 3 cards. So if you do build this combo into the deck just to have like, hey, I accidentally assembled my little dragon combo with the
storm combo
common from, Kaladesh, then it's just kind of like, I don't know, that does appeal to me. That is attractive to me as a player just to have, just
absolutely
a new little combo hanging out in the deck.
One other EDH card that is a great payoff for these kinds of combos is Alter the Brood. 1 cost whenever another permanent enters the battlefield under your control. Each opponent puts the top card of his or her library into his or her graveyard. So that's the treasure token entering the battlefield. It's also the Crown of Flames entering the battlefield. You've got this like double synergistic storm thing going off, and without any interaction, all of your opponents are going to get milled out before they can do anything. That's EDH. That's the EDH applications as far as looking at silly infinite combos and really trying to break Goldspan Dragon right out of the gate. I think that it's also going to have some play in 60 card constructed. Jake, we got this card, Gadrak the Crown Scourge, last year, and we looked at it and went, well, it's not terrible. I mean, we've seen Lovestruck Beast running around like crazy. Much easier to turn on the attack clause on Lovestruck Beast. All you need is a 1/1. But in the same vein that Lovestruck Beast without the 1/1 is a big 5/5 wall, Gadrak is a big flying 5/4 wall unless you turn it on. Now, in a deck with Goldspan Dragon focused around treasure tokens, and this is 60 card constructed, so we're running, 2 or 3 Gadraks, 4 Goldspan Dragons, maybe 3. It's a 5-cost dragon, which is one of the things that we'll talk about at the end. It's maybe kind of holding it back from being wildly powerful, even though I still think it's very powerful.
If it were Gadrak, 4, it would be like just
degenerate.
Nuts.
Degenerate, right? $20 mythic, easy, out of the box. Gadrak is now getting some support. We've seen a lot of treasure support in Kaldheim. Goldspan Dragon notwithstanding. I mean, they're just both dragons, and I think they have a lot of synergy, especially since you've got Gadrak at 3 mana, you've got Goldspan at 5, and then you play whatever you need to at 4, or maybe some other dragon that we see through preview season, or any other 4 cost that's going to give you more treasure tokens or be synergistic with treasure tokens. You're creating more treasures for Gadrak if any non-token creature is dying, and if you get 4 treasures, that's when it can start attacking. So I think that this is a deck that I'm going to be exploring early on in the format when janky decks are still viable in Standard on Arena, early in a brand new format. But it was just a card that I immediately thought of. Yeah, before whatever Sultai control deck takes over the entire ladder, and that's all you have to play. This was one of the first cards that I thought of when I saw Goldspan Dragon, so I wanted to mention it. And also, I've seen this note a lot, Jake, and it's historic, but Feather the Redeemed plays super well with this because of the spells targeting creatures. Any spells that target Goldspan Dragon are going to be returned to your hand at the end step with Feather. And we all know Feather decks. We've seen Feather decks working now since War of the Sparks, so this would be a historic deck on Arena, but I do think that it's got some possibility. Jake, let's wrap this out. Let's throw it back over to the other screen.
Sounds good.
So Goldspan Dragon, like we said, 5 cost. Jake, do you think that there's anything holding this back, or do you think this mythic is just gas?
I think it's a little bit pricey, but again, that bottom part of the card, that bottom chunk of text that says treasure tokens float for double.
How many times have we seen Dockside Extortionist come down in an EDH game and absolutely change the entire landscape? And imagine if all of those were tapping for 2 mana. That's actually kind of a win more, I would assume, because honestly, I've seen Dockside Extortionist come down for as few as 5, up as many as just infinite amounts. But, as few as 5 to 10 treasure tokens off one Dockside Extortionist late can really swing the game if you've got the right synergistic pieces in place, and all of them tapping for double. I mean, these two at the very least are best friends, even if it is a sort of win more strategy there.
But yeah, it is absolute gas in certain EDH games. I don't think it's EDH viable. I might be completely wrong there. There might be people that are just like, nope, you are wrong. It will make it into the deck. Trust me.
Let us know down in the comments below what you think of our new mythic Goldspan Dragon from Kaldheim. And hit that subscribe button and that notification bell down there. We are going to be covering Kaldheim previews as they come out, and we think they are relevant to get videos made to get to you. So make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let us know if you like the video.
That's right. And also, depending on when you're watching this, Tuesdays and Saturdays, we have Foil Quest to Mono Liliana, where we crack Japanese War of the Spark booster boxes and try to find that amazing foil Liliana in that alternate art Japanese treatment. Come join us. It's on stream, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Tapped out. Catch you later.